Welcome back to the Firearms channel, YouTube. Today I've got a couple things to go over before we go over this gun. The first thing is, you may be wondering why the hell I'm sitting in a bedroom. Well, guess what? I'm sick as a dog, in case you couldn't tell by the fact that I'm paler than sour cream. Actually, I'm paler than sour cream on a usual daily basis. Maybe a medical condition behind that. I don't know. I don't care. Second thing I have to say. There is currently an act that is either being drafted by Congress or being considered by Congress, and it is called the Stop Online Piracy Act. Now, I am here to say, please, contact your local representative and senator and say, no, you do not want this. It is a crucial first step into reining in the First Amendment. If you know me, there are two amendments I love, First and Second. And guess what? I don't like Congress attacking either one, and that's what they're currently doing. And even you liberals who hate guns can agree there is something wrong with the government attacking the right to free speech. Okay? I think we can all agree there. Now, third thing I need to say. Viking, Dymanic Juo, all three of you are going to want to run for the apocalypse shelter because they gave me a Class 3. That's right. It's finally happened. The first sign of the apocalypse. Lunatic a Class 3 weapon. Hooray. Anyway, for the rest of you that don't know who I'm talking to, don't worry about it. They are not voices in my head, though they might as well be, because they are useless for anything else. This is, in fact, a PPS 43C from Pioneer Arms. The hell am I shitting? The word of the day is bullshit. This is a PPS 43 short-barreled rifle from Smith Manufacturing Group. Rick Smith personally hand-delivered this. It is beautiful. It is amazing. It made me giggle with joy when I saw it. I ran 100 rounds through it yesterday. Not a single jam. Even when the ammo was slightly bad, it still fired it, ripped it out, and threw it to the side. This is the perfect PPS 43. And not just because the stock still works and it's got a 10-inch barrel. Although, let's be honest here, that's a really nice touch. I hate having that 16-inch anteater barrel where it's just 6 inches of pipe spot welded onto the end of the barrel. Fuck that. Or having your stock spot welded shuts that you have to have. Yeah, sorry, I got a stiff stock. That's what she said. That joke didn't work there. Anyway, I hate having it look like this all the time, you know, where you have to sit there and do this and guess or just shoot from the hip. No, fuck that. I want a stock. I want it to work. I want this. So, I filled out the paperwork July of last year, July 25th it went in. It just got approved like 10 days, or not 10 days, what am I talking about? It got approved like 5 days ago. So, you know, the ATF is severely behind. This is not full auto. More on that at the end of the video. I've got something else to talk about. Basic history on this. It did not replace the PPS H41. I don't know where people are getting this. It's supplemented. Supplement. It was used for completely different reasons. The PPS-H was used for infantry. It was designed to be a frontline thing where they would give infantry automatic firepower. This was designed for support and for vehicle crews, weapon crews, special forces, airborne, engineers, people like that that were rear line, rear echelon people that would not generally encounter the Germans. But when they did, they needed something light, handy, and automatic that was going to make sure that those Germans went home in a body bag. And actually, I shouldn't include the airborne in that because they were really meant to encounter the Germans, but they were encountering them behind enemy lines. And if there are any airborne veterans out there, I'm sure you can attest to this. You don't want something super big and super heavy dangling off your drop bag because it's going to hurt like a son of a bitch when your parachute opens. So that's why they designed this. Alexei Sudiev designed the PPS-42 in late 1941, early 42. It went into production in no, I take that back. The first PPS-42s went into production in Tula. They were found to have several things that were either just manufacturing redundancies or things that just didn't work in the field, and those were deleted. Some of those things were the heat shield originally was separate, it was dovetailed on here and then it was riveted on. That was a redundancy in manufacturing, that was deleted, and the whole thing was unified. The magazine well was initially almost 90 degrees straight down. That was found not to work too well. It jammed a lot. So they did some more testing and they found out that approximately 15 degree angle works perfectly. Yeah, the stock was shortened a little bit. The barrel was shortened a little bit. I'm not sure the exact amount they were shortened. I'm sorry, I've never held a PPS 42, so I can't tell you exact specifications. The sights were changed slightly. I don't know the exact specifics. Now this one was designed specifically with CQB in mind. As you can see, the front sight is eared, but it's open. It's got open ears, so it's very quick to acquire a target. All you do is you sight the ears in over your target. It's really simple. It couldn't be easier. That made it very, very, very good for close range. It made it significantly better than the PPSH for close range, but at longer ranges, more than 100 yards, you wouldn't want to be using one of these because in full auto you're not going to be hitting anything. They were full auto only. This is not, I must make this 100% clear that this is not a selector switch, no matter who tells you what. That was never a selector switch. These were full auto only. This is a safety. Comes back and it blocks the bolt from moving. It blocks your trigger from moving. So you can see, bolt can't move, your trigger can't move, everything is locked up. You wouldn't really ever use it. It was very difficult to use the safety, so because it wobbles up and down and it's got to be perfectly aligned to go back. So I think that fits with the Russian combat doctrine of safety does not kill Germans. Another big thing that they eliminated was the ability to separate the upper from the lower and the ability to remove the barrel. What most people don't know is the PPSH has a quick change barrel system. You drive, well, not quick change, but it has a field removable barrel. Let's do it that way. You can drive out a drift pin in the center and that acts as a hinge. You can remove your upper and your barrel, change your barrel out, and away you go in seconds. Maybe minutes at the most. With this one, you cannot do that. Your barrel is blind pinned into the trunnion, which is riveted into the receiver. So, yeah, you can try as much as you want. You're not going to be able to change your barrel in the field. In fact, it would take a divisional armorer to have that much equipment, or to have the proper equipment to change a barrel on one of these. Now, for the rest of it, everything was basically simplified. They made as much of this out of stamped sheet metal as possible. The barrel, obviously, is not stamped. You cannot stamp a barrel, to my knowledge. I wouldn't try it even if you could. The stock is, of course, inspired by the MP38. I note that I did not say based on. It's not. It's not based on it, because it's a completely different system. It's got two locking lugs, which are connected by a bar on the bottom, and when you push down on your button on top, they both go down and they release from their little notch inside of the stock, and then you can fold your stock shut. And yeah, it folds shut over the top. The MP40 and MP38, of course, fold down across the bottom and out of the way. I'm not really sure why the Russians went over the top instead of under the bottom, but that's maybe why I'm not a weapons designer. The PPSH, or the PPS-43 has obviously it has an external mag well, which is something very different from the PPSH. There's a little locking button back here. You can just pull your mag out. You can see they made lightning cuts inside of here to cut out excess metal, which was excess weight. And also there's a thumb rest on the back here, because the PPSH is one of the few submachine guns at the time that was designed for you to grab it by the mag well. This was very innovative thinking. It was very nice because it's a very natural way to hold something. you just rest your thumb on there and it cannot activate the mag release, so you're good to go on that front. It was an open bolt submachine gun. The bolt was very similar to the PPSH, with one of the main differences being that this does not have a safety on it. A PPSH bolt has a little doohickey on there that can slide in and out and functions as a safety. This doesn't have that. It didn't need it. It had this thing. Overall, they just basically simplified everything they could. They made it as cheap to manufacture as possible with the least amount of manufacturing time possible. In comparison to a PPSH takes about 7.6 hours of manufacturing, I think, or machining work. This takes about 2.3 to 2.6 hours of machining work to finish. So they cut the production time in half. That was a significant improvement. All told, it was a very much improved gun over the PPSH when you're looking at it from the standpoint of an engineer, when you're looking at it from the standpoint of airborne, for vehicles especially, because the PPSH is a very long gun. It's significantly longer than the 43, and that makes it a bitch and a half to operate inside of a vehicle like a tank or an aircraft or things like that. Obviously aircraft are not going to get issued submachine guns. I don't know why I said that, but anyway, not going back now. If you're in a tank, a car, an APC, something like that, a PPSH is too big. It's unwieldy. When you've got a PPS 43, you just hang it over your neck as such, and you point it down, and it's out of your way. No worries. It doesn't bounce around, it doesn't get in your way. A PPSH is all over the place. One of the main drawbacks to this, if you want to look at it as such, is that it has only 650 rounds per minute of rate of fire, whereas the PPSH was 850 rounds per minute. I don't really consider that a drawback, because you're working from a 32 round magazine. It makes your ammo last longer. It makes it much more controllable, much more controllable in full auto fire. Overall, it's a really intuitive gun. I like it a lot, and like I said, I bought mine from Smith Manufacturing. I ran 100 rounds through it, no jams on the first day, and I was like, the range master's jaw almost fell off because he saw me with this, and he's like, "Oh Christ, you have a machine gun." I said, "Yes, I do," and then I proceeded to blow his mind. But anyway, that's not the point. Yeah, I think that's basically all that needs to be said about it. It is simple, robust. This one cost me $600 plus a $200 transfer tax. It all came out in the end to $802.50, straight transferred to me. Then again, I live in Texas, and Rick is in Decatur, so it just transfers direct to me on a Form 4. If you're in Texas, this is the way to go. I don't really like the pistol because, as you can see, it's nice when you're holding it like this. You can fire from the hip, but when you try to aim, getting your face just close enough doesn't always work. A lot of people will loop their sling like this and aim, but I don't like it. I like having this option to have the stock out so that I can actually, take my time and fire. But I also don't like having a 6-inch pipe welded onto the end of it to make it legal. Which brings me to the next thing. If you want one of these, let me know, and I will give you all the details. I will give you Rick's email address and his website for you to go to, so you can contact him about building you one. He builds them all from scratch, and it's hammer fired, which is very nice. It's a very big improvement over any of the striker fired models on the market. This is infinitely better than the Polish pistols. Not only because it's not a pistol, but also because the quality is just so much better. Rick was the first to come up with the design to use the original ID receiver with the dimple in the top, and the Polish copied him after that. So basically, go with the original, guys. If you're going to get one of these, this is the way to go. Now, since I've got you guys here and we're looking at NFA, I want to have a chat with you about NFA. Basically, back in the day, a lot of people have asked me, why is it illegal for a civilian to own a rifle with a barrel length less than 16 inches that is otherwise fully compliant with all federal laws, unless they fill out a huge long amount of paperwork. And then they also ask me, why can't a civilian register a brand new machine gun? Well, I'm going to tackle that second question first. The reason you can't register a new machine gun right now is because of a filthy little snake rat bastard named Tom Hughes. I usually don't have such horrific names for somebody, but that creature, he's not even a man, he's a creature, is so underhanded, so devious, and so disgusting that he deserves those names. He authored in 1986, he authored an illegal amendment to the Firearm Owners Protection Act, and then he convened a whole bunch of anti-gun politicians of both parties. I'm not blaming Democrats for this one. This was both parties that had anti-gun people in them. They got together and they held a voice vote. Well, the pro-gun people said, okay, no, we want a written ballot vote. Well, they said no. The anti-gun people overruled them, said no, we're going to do it this way, and they forged the results. They illegally passed a law that restricts us from owning or from registering a new machine gun unless we go and apply for a federal firearms class 2 or class 7 manufacturer. I'm sorry. You can talk to C2 Builder about that. He's a great guy. He'll give you all the details. It's expensive as hell. It's not practical for anybody. Basically, they ruined the machine gun market. Now, if you want one of these in full auto, it would have to be registered before 1986, and it's going to cost you about $28,000. Yeah, so you can blame Tom Hughes for that. I do advocate sending him hate mail if you ever get the chance. Just no threats. Just remind him that you hate him and that he is scum and that the world would be a better place if he had never been born. Now, another problem that came with this is the NRA has let this stand for 25 years. People ask me all the time, why are you not an NRA member? You love guns. I do love guns. I love guns more than anything. I don't love the NRA. They've let this stand for 26 years now. In May it'll be 26 years. It's 25 years right now. And they've done nothing about it. And I contacted their legal division and asked, and I got a bullshit response of, oh, well, they shifted. They said, oh, well, we can't really do this, but, thank you. Would you like to sign up for a life membership? No. Fuck you, no. You don't represent my desires. They don't represent the majority of American gun collectors anymore. All they represent is hunters. They represent their own interests. And guess what? They make backroom deals with the ATF and with the Brady campaign. Which incidentally, when Sarah Brady saw this, she probably gave premature birth to the Antichrist. So, hey Sarah, congratulations on the new child. I'll send you an upside-down burning crucifix. I know how you love those. Yeah, so, if you guys get the chance, contact the NRA and demand some accountability. That's why I'll never be a member until they fix this. Anyway, this is Sergey Mosin signing